Did you know that crowdfunding is an industry that did 70 plus $billion overall just in 2021, and it is geared to be a $96 billion over the next 2 years industry per year? That's fascinating numbers. Many companies take advantage for the good reasons and start companies and even do some disruptive things. Others, well, let's just say they kind of take advantage of people under the umbrella of crowdfunding. This is the ME Show.
All eyes on me, drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor. All eyes on me, who is he? Man, you better come get your girl dog. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be. All eyes on me,
all eyes on the prize, money supersized. G5 super fly, should be supervised. Do or die, open up your eyes, head to the sky. Keep a mean bad mommy on the side. Make a tsunami, kamikaze on the mind. Spit flow, paparazzi flash shine. Get dough, champagne, Merlot. Cash and tango, in the VIP. Now she wanna touch her ankle. Get low, mueve mami como el dembow. All eyes on me, peeping through the window. Get mine, get yours, believe it or not. In the meantime, I'ma keep my eyes on the
all
top.
eyes on me, drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor. All eyes on me, who is he? Man, you better come get your girl dog. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be.
All eyes on me, indeed. Your host with the avocado toast, Ali Madawi, here with a brand new installment of the ME Show. Do me a favor, wherever you may be watching, if you're live or on replay, let me know. Where are you at? Are you an entrepreneur? Have you even heard of the concept of crowdfunding? Do you even understand what crowdfunding is? Or do you need a crash course of crowdfunding for dummies? Well, let me tell you, over the last couple of years, I've been exposed to this concept. I never really understood it. I thought that you had to be an accredited investor or a financial advisor to even get into that space. Well, what I kind of learned is that anyone and their mother really can get a crowdfunding, and it's a great way to generate revenue or operating cash flow for a company. But in some cases, it ends up being backfiring. And of course, it comes with its risk, just like any investment. Well, first and foremost, welcome to the ME Show. My name is Ali Madawi, and I am the founder and CEO of Madawi Enterprise, where we help struggling entrepreneurs leverage social media and the digital space to develop brand equity and revenue. And if you are watching this, clearly you are an entrepreneur, and I'm so grateful for you to be here. So let me give you a little bit of an understanding of what crowdfunding is, can be, or should be. So crowdfunding is a way for companies to generate some investments, capital, cash flow to build, grow, scale a business. And there are 4 different main ways to doing so. So the very first one is debt. The second one is equity. The next one is rewards. And then there's donations. And I'm going to explain to you how it all works out and how the average Joe and average Joanne can take advantage and or be part of it. And of course, the risk to it. And of course, if you've seen from the title, I'm kind of against the idea of an MLM company getting into the crowdfunding space. And maybe it has been done the right way before, but I'm going to share with you some of my personal experiences that I've seen in recent years as to why it's a definite big no-no. And from this point forward, a red flag for me. And that's just my philosophy. You may be right on what you're seeing, but I'm going to share with you what I understand, what I know. So let's talk about the debt base kind of crowdfunding. So this is where a company says, hey, give me $1 and I'm going to give you a percentage until you recoup your money back from the sales every single month or quarter or whatever that scheduled payment back is, and plus some profits and or rewards, whether it is on a short pace or an ongoing base. Of course, the crowdfunding purchase form should have all the terms in there, why, who's behind it, how do you pay it, and so on and so forth. Now, it needs to be regulated by the SEC, but let me just be clear, there are a lot of gray areas when it comes to crowdfunding, and many companies, especially in the multi-level marketing space, understand and know that. And unfortunately, the good news about multi-level marketing is that anyone can get into it. You don't need a doctorate from Yale, or you could be straight out of jail. You can get into multi-level marketing. You can even be a business owner, an owner of a multi-level marketing company. And with that comes a lot of bad behavior, bad habits, bad things, if you will, right? So many people love the concept of, I'll give you money, give me a percentage until I make my money back. And there are many credited platforms like Funded Here, Crowdo, Moolah Sense, all of these companies that are accredited that many startups can go to right now and give them a plan. They create a page for them, and they are a payment processor essentially for them that is done the proper way. And then they release the money on a scheduled period of time. The investor can get their money back, but if it goes past a specific period of time, they can no longer get their money back directly from the investor, the processing company. They have to go to the originator of the actual account, meaning the company that have received the payment. So if the company is doing things the proper way, they can handle it directly with the investor. If not, well, maybe lawyers are going to need to be involved in that. Now, the second way of crowdfunding operations is equity-based. That's when I say, I'll give you money, dear company, and give me a percentage of the company. Therefore, I can either sell it in forms of stocks if the company is planning on going IPO, or if the company has an exit strategy at some point, I will get my piece of the pie based on my financial contribution. And again, there are many accredited platforms. And by the way, I have zero affiliations with any of these platforms. I'm just your host with the Avocado Toast, your boy, your strategic partner, giving you some love and educating you. And if you just joined us, we're talking about crowdfunding. Let me know if you've ever invested or are involved in a crowdfunding campaign. So with that, you have companies like AngelList, FundNow, Cedars, CapBridge, all of these accredited, SEC approved. But again, there are a lot of gray areas when it comes to crowdfunding. And this is why you, the investor, need to really do some homework on who is behind the company, their track record. And as I've talked to you, I believe 4 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I said, when you see someone's past, believe them. When you see someone's past, believe them, because the reality is it takes 7 years for a bank to get you approved for a car. Why would I let you go after a year or 2 years from something that you might have done just 2 years ago, money that you might have lost just 2 years ago? But sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? So if you're ready for the third way of crowdfunding options, drop a number 3 for me in that comment. And here it comes. So the third way is rewards based. This is where the company says, give me money, and in exchange, you'll get the VIP offer that everybody's going to be paying for at a high level. You get it for free for a year, or, you get jets included, or you get, whatever rewards the company may have to an exclusive group of individuals. You can be part of that. That means the company's margins are really, really tiny. They can't really give you any equity, or they can't give you any percentage on the profits to a certain time or a scheduled payment. However, what they can do is give you some perks within the company itself. So that's another way that is very, very popular. Many companies take that. And one of the companies that you probably have heard of, you hear about it a lot, is Kickstarter, where everyday average solopreneurs come up with ideas, inventions, or what have you. And they say, I can't give you money, but I will make sure that you get X amount of products or whatever rewards that there is to it. Indiegogo and Ululi is another platform that is accredited. Again, this is just money that you invest based on rewards that you are going to receive. And the last piece is donation based. This is just you believing in a movement, believing in a company. And we see it in the pharmaceutical space. Sometimes we see it in the community space, right? Like we're trying to build a park that's going to help our children, and we are crowdfunding and raising money and yada, yada, yada. And then the community comes in together into a platform. And again, there are a lot of accredited companies like Indiegogo, Patreon, UCaring, and Friend Fund. And all of these are good for you and I, that we can take advantage as everyday average Joe and everyday average Joanne, and we can invest in companies, and we can go to so many different ones, net capitals, and so on and so forth. Now, When you think about it, the concept is I give you upfront cash flow. So you, the company that I'm trusting, is going to utilize that money responsibly so you can raise the capital or you can raise the revenue of the company. And therefore, I get my rewards, whether it's a percentage, whether it's equity, whether it's rewards, or even if it's just a donation, just recognition, right? That's what we trust when we do that. Now, because it is not per se an initial price offering or a publicly traded company, the rules can be a little bit bent. And I'm going to tell you again how they can be bent and why you have to be very, very careful. And the reason that is I know of individuals and histories of companies that went on and raised money through crowdfunding to fund their own everyday habits, first class flights, and high-end dining and luxury cars, and just living large yachts and so on and so forth. While the field or the executives or the employees or the staff or even investors thought that while the company's doing so well that they already have budgeted those activities, well, in reality, that the money was not only taken out, sometimes it was taken out for the personal fund for the individuals that's behind the executive team. And those are mega red flags. And many times they happen in many different companies. Now, you and I, as an investor, sometimes we don't know that. Sometimes we don't see that until the information is later on disclosed. And sometimes you got bad operators that they do, what's the concept? Robbing Peter to pay Paul, or robbing, I think it's one of those two, right? Either Peter, Paul, or Paul or Peter, but you get the drift, right? And they end up falling so much behind that they are burning through accounts and burning, and they keep on coming back and asking for more money and asking for more money. And while you and I are thinking, this is great, company needs more money to expand, well, in reality, they need more money to play catch up on what they have already done. So there are 3 stages for the company that would help you make an educated business decision if I want to invest in a crowdfunding campaign. The very first one, it's called early stage growth. That's the first to third year worth of growth. The second phase is the growth stage. That's the 3 to 6 year. That's where the fun begins, the profitability, the momentum, the scaling, right? The return on investment is already happening. And of course, the late stage growth. This is the 6 years plus. That's where the company is already looking at an exit strategy, and you can capitalize if that is your investing strategy as well. And of course, I'm no fiduciary, I'm no legal or financial advisor. Check with your advisor. I'm just sharing with you from my own personal experience and experiences and individuals that I've interacted with over the last couple of years. So when it comes to that early age growth, that first to 3 years, there are also 3 different phases. There's the valuation divided by the amount of campaigns. So if I give myself $1 million valuation as a company, I divide it by how many campaigns, right? Operations. Is it marketing? Is it door knocking? Is it telemarketing? Is it newspaper? And you divide that so you can identify how the money is responsibly being spent. That'll give you an idea if it makes fiscal sense, and you can also have someone else evaluate that for you. The second phase of the early stage is valuation divided by successful campaigns. So it isn't about how many campaigns we've done. It's about how many successful campaigns that we have done. And again, these are all data that you can capitalize or capture from the company CFO. If the company CFO does not have access to this information, or any C-level does not have access, they're either not knowing what they're talking about, or they're concealing information just to buy time and do whatever dirt that it may be, right? The last piece to the early to growth stage is valuation divided by funds that are already raised. So if I am giving myself $1 million valuation divided by $100,000 that we have raised, that'll give me that 10 that 10% ratio that'll give me an idea of the risk to rewards kind of factor, right? Now, then there is what we call the growth stage, right? That's the 3 to 6 years. There's, again, different factors that you're going to identify if it is a good investment, if it has good rewards coming back to you. So there's the valuation divided by funding value, right? The amount of funding that we've capitalized. And then you have the valuation divided by revenue, company revenue. If those numbers are flip-flopping and they're not consistent with one another, there is a big problem. Meaning the company can be raising a lot of money, but if their revenue is not growing, that means that they are just bleeding money and spending it in the wrong places, wherever that may be, right? Whether it's personal, unethical, whether it's personal and ignorant, meaning not knowing that they're not supposed to be spending that kind of money, or just straight up just incompetent business functions. They don't know what they don't know, or they're just straight up crooks. Either way, you want to make sure that you're evaluating everything. And this is what I learned, even myself, for the last 2 years. The last piece is that late stage growth that we talked about, where the exit strategy is already being evaluated. This is where you look at 3 factors: the valuation divided by revenue. Then you have valuation divided with what they call EBITDA. And these are some legal and financial terms that I would highly recommend you look into. This is where you start looking at the numbers, right? Like, how are we growing? How much per account? What's the retention in so many different areas? And then you obviously have the person, the payroll to employee ratio, right? Like, does the payroll to employee make sense? Meaning, does the CEO pay himself a fat check while everybody's not getting paid or starving or making $10 an hour? Like, those are things that are going to allow you to understand this person is either greedy, incompetent, not knowing what the heck they're doing, or they just need a little bit of like, hey, not me, I'm not investing right now, and you can move on. Now, I share all of these pieces with you so you can understand and identify the different ways, if you will, a crash course to crowdfunding. Why is it a gray area? Because from what I have seen over the last 1 year specifically, is in crowdfunding, you can disclose what you want. It looks great on paper, but behind the scene, you can still finagle a little bit and spend more than you said you were going to spend, and just go right back to the platform and update it, or delay the date to buy time for yourself, or ask for more money. And if somebody already spent $10,000 and their return or their refund phase is already passed, they're going to have a hard time. In other words, they're stuck in this hallway where you have the processing payment company saying, I released the company money, and the company says, yeah, you did business with them. We're not ready to do anything unless you want to just go ahead and sell your shares because you bought property. And then that person is so stuck in the middle, losing all of their money or losing their hair, with the hopes that, I hope I make it back. I hope I make it back. I hope I make it back. Now, why am I against MLM and crowdfunding? See, MLM in its nature is, unless you are heavy pocketed and you have your own money to invest, most network marketing operators, they start broke. They start with nothing. They think, I just need a product and I need a website and I can build a downline, not realizing the amount of work, the amount of technology, the amount of operations that are required and necessary for you. Otherwise, you're either lying or you don't know what you're talking about when things go wrong. And in many cases, I think a statistic showed that, and there are thousands and thousands of companies, network marketing companies, that start every single 30 days, literally thousands. And the companies that make it past 5 years is 1 out of 1,000. Imagine those odds. So with those odds, a network marketing company or an MLM company doing a crowdfunding campaign, no matter what is being told, and especially if numbers are either being inflated or numbers are not necessarily like being disclosed fully all the way, it's a scary thing. And from my experience, I've seen many different individuals that are just unfortunately hurt. I've seen individuals that have liquidated their 401ks, that have liquidated church funds, that have liquidated, their retirements, and have nothing to show for it. And again, they're stuck in that hallway where the company that raised the money, they're like, yeah, we just made some mistakes and we got to work it out, or we're going to get out of business. And the other end of the payment process, like, we already released your money. And the sucky part, the sad part, is the network marketing company or the MLM company, they can just get away with murder because there's many areas and gray areas that they can at least buy time with, right? They can hide their money. They can show that they're broke and not doing well, what they're eating very, 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 very well, spending, vacations in Hawaii or whatever the case may be. So I share this with you as I hope if you are considering or have had any experience with crowdfunding and network marketing, make sure you do some due diligence on what are the options that are available to you to make sure to protect yourself, to protect your assets. I don't want you to get hurt. I love what network marketing can be. I love what network marketing has done for me in a career. I've done very, very well with it, whether directly coaching, whether directly building, whether directly consulting, whether just public speaking for network marketing companies. I'm just cautioning you on be very, very careful when it comes to crowdfunding and any gray areas. I warned a few people a year ago about a company that was, their product was you buy tokens, and they would justify like, oh no, it's just an educational platform. There's nothing more to it. We're selling the education. Well, that company is under investigation right now. That company is not releasing anybody's money. I warned about it a year ago. I'm like, hey, listen, you got to be careful with that company. It looks like one of those them things, right? When there's no product or service and the only exchanges are monetary transactions. And if the bottom layer floats out and stops, everything all the way to the top is going to die. And here they are right now. So I ask of you, I'm begging you, if you are considering to get involved with a network marketing company, and if they are in a crowdfunding option or planning on it, I mean, it is a almost 99% of the time flop and total fail. And I don't want you to be collateral damage part of it. So I hope that this educated you a little bit, because remember, I'm not going to come in here and pump the law of attraction and make you feel beautiful and pretty all the time, right? I want you to have some practical understanding of business one-on-one, whether it is legal, whether it is compliance, whether it is marketing, sales. I'm going to give you practical touches so you can make an educated business decision. And do me a solid, hit this share button. There is someone somewhere right now that is desperate and being unfortunately played for money. And they may just hear this voice. They may just hear this message, and it may protect them or give them enough time to pull back from whatever hole that they may be putting themselves in. Because I don't think you actually need someone or something, a network marketing company or a crowdfunding option. I think greatness is already within you. You just have to activate it like it has been activated for myself. Sometimes I fall astray. Sometimes I surrender and I just play the nice guy card, and I will always be the nice guy. I love being a nice guy. But I am not going to compromise my options, my life, my family, my greatness because someone else had greedy thoughts that they're not disclosing with the masses. And today's message hopefully rectifies that for you if you are or have been a victim of anything like that. So I thank you and I appreciate it and I love you. Last but not least, you ready for this? Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my last freebie of a webinar that's going to be taking place. If you want to be part of it, just hit me up privately. We're introducing officially 3 strategic partners that we're going to be coaching together. We're introducing our educational platform, our influencer attraction media officially. We are going to be releasing so much fun content, as I like to call it, fontent. And I think you're going to get a lot of value out of it, as we did last week. So tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're not going to be live, but we're definitely going to be on the Zoom. It is a freebie, but one last one indeed. I gave you a free app last time. I'm about to hook you up with a free meal, but don't miss out. I would hate for you to miss out. I love you and I appreciate you. And until tomorrow, have a blessed day, everybody.